You're listening to DraftKings Network.
Smirnoff knows there's no I in football. Football is a we thing, an experience that is best enjoyed together with good drinks and good people. Smirnoff is the world's #1 vodka and is an official vodka partner of the NFL. And this year, Smirnoff is giving fans in select areas of the country a chance to win the ultimate game day experience. From tickets to sideline passes and much more, just head to WeDoGameDays.com until November 15, 2024 to enter for your chance to win. That's WeDoGameDays.com. Smirnoff, we do game days.
Please drink responsibly. Smirnoff number 21 vodka, distilled from grain, 40% alcohol by volume. The Smirnoff Company, New York, New York. Please do not share with anyone under legal drinking age. No purchase necessary. 21 plus. Ends November 15, 2024. See rules at website for participating area and other important details. Sponsored by Diageo Americas Inc., New York, New York.
You know when you reach that age where everyone and their mother won't shut up about their credit scores, yet it seems like no one really understands what's so special about those 3 random numbers? That's because credit scores are meaningless, unless you have Credit Karma to show you how to use them. We use those 3 random numbers, plus your financial profile, to help you find your next opportunity. Like a more rewarding credit card, a game plan that helps you pay down debt faster, or a personal loan to help you save more on interest payments each month. Cha-ching! Download Intuit Credit Karma today to get started.
Welcome to the Big Suey, presented by DraftKings.
Why are you listening to this show?
The podcast that seems very similar to the other Dan Le Batard podcast.
I'm sorry, I'm not going to apologize for that.
In fact, the only difference seems to be this imaging.
I have been tempted in restaurants just walking past tables to grab somebody's fries that if they're just there. That hasn't happened to you guys?
I've done it.
And now, here's the marching man to nowhere, Fat Face, and the habitual liar.
Dan, what's that in your hand?
That was very natural, Mike, but I'm excited about this. It is a coloring book meant to celebrate our 20-year anniversary. We've always prided ourselves around here on having a different artistic look, and I like some of the pictures here. There is Roy and Mike as Riggs and Lethal. What is it? Thank you.
Actually, we can't use them to sell this book, so don't say their names.
Okay, I bleep that all out. I also have a meme here falling in American.
Can't say that either.
Greg Cody is wearing a...
that you can say.
Okay, thank you.
Well,
maybe.
Is
that
the
LSU
one or no? Wait, what is he wearing?
He's wearing that Zar...
Can't say that.
Can't
Strike
say
that from the record.
Okay. There is Stugotz, his guy...
You cannot say his name.
Mayor of Flavortown, Dan. That book is so much thicker than Stugotz's book.
LeBatardAF.com. It's a lot of fun. I urge you to check it out. The Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz struggling mightily to try to keep the book industry alive in this country by selling a whole lot of books.
Went from 0 books to like 14 books in a year.
What we weren't doing any books, and then all of a sudden Mango Publishing started sniffing around the oil wells over here.
The Lion book, we got a coloring book, we got a this, that.
Dan, when are you going to write a book?
It's an excellent question. The most I'm doing right now is coloring book is what I have for you. LeBatardAF.com.
And forwards.
I would have to leave what we're presently doing in order to do that. It's time consuming.
Don't leave.
If you could write a book about any topic, what would it be?
It's the book I've been trying to write for 25 years that I will tell people about when I'm ready to have the burden of expectations of having to write it.
When is it going to be ready? Burden of expectations.
Burden of expectations is a great. Yeah, that's a good title.
Can you give us a fake answer for the sake of the show?
I have
forward?
pages all over the house that I've come back from a time when you would have pages to write on, as opposed to the pre-computer. It's all over the place. It's gone from house to house. There is a book. There's a smattering of a book.
You have a manuscript.
But its pages are everywhere. Some are in storage.
Sci-fi?
It's not a manuscript. It's not a manuscript.
Were you
sci-fi?
the guy on the typewriter during Tua's press conference?
That is a mystery we need to get to the bottom of.
You laugh, but I think that you started with something like couplers, like you're 10 years younger than me, but you are also pre-internet when you started this.
Well, I knew that I was the young guy in the crew when I was a young reporter, when all the other reporters were calling their computer their machines. Oh, my machine. I was like, what are you talking about?
There's been one thing that I've picked up from the oral history, and that is very clearly Dan does not know when the internet started.
I feel like it was about 2004.
Wow. No. What were you doing for 10 years?
We were talking about the Heat, and he stopped short of the most recent episode. He's like, I'm not going to say it was pre-internet, but it was pretty close. I'm like, what? I had a YouTube page.
When did Facebook start? It feels like pre-Twitter. When do you regard as the beginning of the internet? Because there's a famous clip of Bryant Gumbel on the Today Show, the most popular show in America, saying, what is this internet thing? And I think that's early 90s that show is existing. So what do you guys regard as the advent of the internet? Because I really do sort of think of it as whenever it is Twitter started. I know it's before that.
Wow. Really? No, you've got mail. You have an AOL.
I wasn't on Facebook and I wasn't on Instagram. Like, I wasn't doing that stuff.
When I was in high school.
Pre-social media.
You had an AIM. You had an AIM account. You were welcomed with you've
pre-social
got mail.
media is what I should
That's
be
what you
saying.
should be
That's what I should be saying.
That's exactly
95?
Thank you for the correction.
Al Gore invented it.
Yeah.
But this is one of the ways that I age out. Here is another, and I am right about this. I will not be wrong about this. This is something I would say this has been my number one cause over the last 3 years and the cause that I am absolutely most right on. However, I sound like this person and I look like this person when I do it.
I buy some strawberries and I'm offering exactly the right amount of money here. So you people take that money and I will take my strawberries outside.
You can't take that.
I paid by legal tender.
No, don't break the dog. Do not break the dog.
I paid by legal tender and I am going out with my strawberries. I paid by legal tender in this dystopian place.
And wheelchair
clapping him.
You want one, mate?
Arrest him. I dare you. Take that to arrest. He paid by legal tender. You will take his coins and you will let him leave with his strawberries.
The biggest life hack is having an English accent.
Exactly.
Because if that were a Southern accent, he'd sound crazy.
Yeah, Dan started off by saying, I sound like that gentleman. You sound nothing like that gentleman. I don't care what he complains about. I'm on his side. Give that man his strawberries.
You know how crazy you would sound if you were trying to barge through automatic doors saying, I've paid my legal tender?
I regret so much that I have not yelled that. For those of you not watching video here, and everything we just did is much better when supplemented not just by his accent, but the way that he looks and everything that's happening there. A man tried to pay for strawberries with coins. And they say, we don't take coins here. We do not want your coins. He threw them all on the table and then barged out of the grocery store. And he had the perfect sentence, which I wish to repeat over and over again. I regret that I have not made a public show of this and gotten arrested yelling, I've paid my legal tender, because this man is right. He's on the right side of history and the law. That's God-earned American money, and he should be able to spend it in a restaurant or a grocery store to get his goddamn strawberries.
I don't know about God
I'm
earned,
going
but
to
it's
buy
definitely.
some strawberries, and I'm offering exactly the right amount of money here. So you people take that money, and I will take my strawberries outside.
You can't take that.
I paid by legal tender.
No, don't break the dog. Do not break the dog.
I paid by legal tender, and I am going out with my strawberries.
The ovation he gets from the dude in the wheelchair.
In this dystopian place.
You should be able to spend wherever you want. This is an absolute joke.
You want one, mate?
It's the perfect.
Do you want one?
Do you want one, mate? It's the perfect phrasing for that scenario, Dan, because it's legal tender. You're telling them you have to take this by law. Get me out of here.
Absolutely right. And I am absolutely right. And in our cashless society, when you guys are going to give all the numbers over to Elon Musk and he's going to live on Mars with them, I will be down here on Earth, swallowed by flames and sea, with $1 in the air, shouting, I paid by legal tender. With my last dollar and my last breath, you will take my cash. You will not make me feel alone by having cash.
Do you have an aversion to credit cards? Is there something, do you not like them?
It's not an aversion. It's the way that I've always done this, and I wish to be stubborn to the very end and stop with your wokeness.
Do you not like rewards points? something you can't get with cash.
I like paying with cash. I like that baggage handlers at an airport, that I don't have to Venmo them, that they've lost their entire income because nobody gives them $10 anymore because nobody has $10 to give them.
Tipping industry. Huge blow.
Oh, my God.
Went to a cocktail reception, just got a drink.
Why do you think that all service industry has gone to total shit? We used to give them money for their services.
Do you know where I got a tip request from on the little screen there where you're paying? A mechanic. A mechanic was asking for a tip.
You already ripped me off, buddy. You want more money?
Exactly.
I tip the mechanics.
What?
No, you
Since
don't.
when?
Yeah.
They have a labor fee.
My dad is not a manly man, and my dad always used to like fill his tires up because he had no idea how to do it. He would just drive up to an auto parts store or like a Jiffy Lube and be like, "Hey, can you put air in the tires? Here's like $2."
I mean, that's not really going to a mechanic. That's just tipping a dude for free work. Like
I've since stopped doing that and become a real man
But
with a family of my own, paying legal tender.
I feel like everyone, like every nail salon I go to, every hair place I go to, they all accept Venmo tips. I tipped someone $2 yesterday on Venmo.
Are you doing much in the way of tipping valets that way? Because
I don't think I've ever valeted my car.
Wow. Yeah. Really? I tip drivers if the very fancy hotel provides a shuttle. I
anyone
ask
here
for a
tip
QR.
Uber drivers?
Absolutely.
Well, the app within the app they allow you to do that. So that one's easy.
It improves your rating.
Back in my day, they paid him well enough where you didn't have to tip. That was the whole point of Uber. I don't have to tip
Bait
the
and
guy.
switch, right?
And it's a bait and switch.
Bait
now
and
it's like,
switch.
hey, here's 37%. I got to pay the guy $40 more than my actual ride. Like, what are we doing?
They got us in the tent with no tips.
Whenever
And
there's
now they all
live
complain.
music, Mike, somebody always has their Venmo thing right there, and I always make it a point to take the photo and stand there while I tip so everybody knows I'm tipping the performer. I'm not going to let those people with the dollar bills get away.
Yeah, I'm not just doing this for them to enjoy the
No,
tip.
it's
I'm doing this so people recognize that I'm kind and polite.
The better move is you go up and go to take a picture and then walk back and then never give the guy a buck.
Yeah.
And then people see, oh, this guy knows what he's
the
doing.
Stugotz. Stugotz has been pretending to be charitable.
Venmos himself.
The way that Stugotz does charity is, hey, does everyone see me doing charity? It's actual fraud. And then he walks away from that because it's what it is totally counterfeit. But he gets the credit without delving into his debit. He doesn't have to give any cash ever. You guys remember, most famously, I'd love to hear this in the oral history because as much as I've loved the oral history and hearing Mark Hackman again yesterday, with some people might not have context for what Mark Hackman was. There was a time in this show, Mike, what's the oral history reception been so far?
Overwhelmingly positive. I haven't really seen a criticism from a listener.
Just like our Michael Schmidt interview?
That has been the polar opposite. The only praise that I've heard of that interview has really been inside of this room, which I think speaks to a larger disconnect.
Michael Schmidt is going to be on with us again because I enjoyed
That's surprising. That's surprising because I thought he didn't enjoy his time, but he was pretty difficult to read throughout the interview. But I did listen back. For everybody that was here in the studio and listening along, they all kind of felt like Chris's line about stepson at the very end.
Oh, no.
At the very least, did not land.
I don't know. I think he gives off a little Iron Eagle, like he's just hard to read, but also just funny and dry. And so I don't know if he necessarily took offense to the Chris Cody.
He didn't take offense to much of anything. He's going to do an opening to a show for us at some point next week. He wants to do a sports radio show, but it was a bit awkward, and I did think the stepson comment was out of bounds, and I think that's where we lost him.
I don't know if I want to know. I do think I offended people in the YouTube chat by saying I tipped someone $2. It was a $10 service. That's 20%. I'm a good tipper.
That's
okay?
a great tip. That's a great tip. Yeah, it kind of felt like he was diminishing the relationship between a father and son just because he was the dad that stepped up.
God.
Oh, no.
Dan, so I didn't hear the entirety of the interview. I heard like bits and pieces because I was here, but I was doing other work. This is the guy that said, "Are we done yet?" Is that guy?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. You gave him a shot because I was listening. You gave him a shot to like start up the first 30 seconds of a morning radio show. Came out super flat. Didn't do it.
No, he wants to do it now.
No, I know he wants to do it, but he had his chance and he didn't do
That's
it.
a
You get
hard
asked on the
thing
spot,
to
you gotta
do.
do it, man.
On the spot.
You want to be Mr. Johnny on the spot and come up with stuff to do?
I don't think he
do
wanted to be Mr. Johnny on the spot. I think you're projecting that onto him.
When somebody knocks on your door Sorry about that. When somebody knocks on your door and it's supposed to be Uber Eats and they leave at your door, right? You're supposed to leave it at the door, but they knock. Do you adjust the tip and knock it down? Because I do.
I altered the instructions. When I want them to knock, I say, please knock. And when I don't want them to knock.
Do you ever want them to knock?
Never.
Sometimes, yeah.
Really?
Sometimes
when do you
I want them to knock. When my ring is down, I'm like, I can't see the video here.
But when I order something, especially if it's a meal, I'm watching them for the entirety of their drive to my house to see how and then like I get notifications as they approach, which always sounds very threatening when they're like, this DoorDasher is approaching, and I'm like, oh, what is that?
Anthony usually gives me a hard time because I like peer out the window. I'm like, are you here yet? And then when they do knock on my door, I hate that so much. I make it as uncomfortable as possible. So I try to answer it before they go away in my underwear.
Are we done?
I want to understand from you guys a couple of different things that I don't totally understand. Earlier, Jessica, you whispered to me that Izzy acted with his ass off in the spin room that Jeremy created. I didn't see what Izzy was doing. What was he doing that made you say that he was acting his ass off?
There's a couple of cuties in that spin class.
Oh, I wasn't acting.
You were flirting. You were flirt. You were.
Did you get his number?
You were flirting, is what it is that you were doing while Jeremy did the spin class. What were you spraying in his face?
Me? That was the other spinners that were sweating profusely in front of him.
It was really unbelievable. Salty.
As sweat is.
He's still a little wet.
Where is the strangest guy? Where is the strangest place that you guys would be willing to say you do tip that would make you a strange tipper? Because I think some people are having some disagreements. It seemed clear to me that what Tony was saying there is, I don't Uber tip. You guys were like, of course I Uber tip, and Tony's like, no, I thought that was what we were doing with Uber. You were cutting some of the costs for me. What Uber's actually doing is ripping off its drivers and taking way too much of the money, and so you would tip them because they're in the service industry. But Tony saying, nope, not for me.
Well, I got guilted into tipping Uber Eats drivers and Uber drivers, but mostly Uber Eats drivers. And then I just started thinking about it. I was like, I can order from the same place over and over, and it's the same distance, and the only difference is the price. So if I'm extra hungry, why am I tipping more if this guy's doing or woman is doing the same amount of work getting it from point A to point B? So I don't do any percentages on Uber Eats. It's just a $3 or $4 tip every single time.
My strangest tip is that, like when they give you a check at a restaurant or somewhere else and the tip is already built in, I will tip on top of that tip.
Sucker. Like a double full tip or just a
Not
little
a double
bit
full
more?
tip. I'll just give a couple extra percentage points.
But
So
don't
if it's
you
a
feel
built-in
weird, like
18,
putting in like a $3
we'll get to
tip?
20. If it's a built-in 20, we'll get to 22.
Okay.
Just, an extra few bucks. It makes me feel good, and I
And
also...
that's it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Because I pay cash, I would say that one of the strange places that I'm always leaving money is anytime I'm at the grocery store, I'm giving the cashier a tip. I don't think most people are doing that.
Are you going to Publix? Because you could be getting them fired.
I'm not going to Publix. This is at Whole Foods. But I also think those tend, especially in Miami, to be pretty terrible jobs, because people are rude, people just look past you, you're not a human being. I believe that the service industry has gone to shit because of the lack of cash in our environment that kept the service industry in a place where people would be less bad and care more about service. Am I wrong when I say that it's hard to get a human being on the phone to use a phone as a phone?
Well, that's
at this point,
capitalism.
aren't you guys annoyed when your phone acts as a phone and actually rings and asks you to answer it? You're annoyed at this point when your phone acts as a phone.
I come out the gates yelling representative, but that's not the service industry. That's
Talk to an
capitalism.
agent. Talk to an agent.
Agent.
So, Dan, are you proclaiming that you are some sort of superhero because you are still carrying cash and saving our economy?
I pay legal tender. That would be my superhero slogan phrase.
Work on the accent.
I pay. Yes, the accent is better. I sound obnoxious instead of charming.
should try it.
No,
But Dan, strawberries are a nightshade. Do you eat those?
Wow.
You were close to getting me to do an impersonation there, Jeremy.
I was
but-
so desperate for your British accent.
Yes, I was
I
going to
tried to
do
save
it.
him.
No, but yes, thank you for saving me. I don't eat very much in the way of strawberries.
Good,
No.
because there's bugs in those things.
And
What?
pesticides and
Oh,
a bunch of
man.
stuff that you do
do
not
you
want
eat
to
bananas?
them.
Do you eat bananas?
There's bugs in strawberries?
Yeah, it's
They
gross.
hide.
Do you eat bananas?
I do eat bananas.
Those are strawberries.
Where are the bugs?
It's like in the little holes, and like
Inside.
if you actually wash it with a certain, I think it's vinegar and some sort of, you'll see
Baking
all the
soda, too.
disgustingness. I think it's baking soda. Yeah, you'll see all that stuff come
water.
up. It takes forever. I think that's
rinse.
why Tom
We're
Brady
good.
doesn't eat strawberries. I'm not going to lie. I think that's the
No,
reason.
I think it's an inflammation thing.
It's a pesticide thing,
That's
too.
because he's eating all those damn pests.
You guys are just going to skip past Mike saying bananas are strawberries?
I don't even know what that means.
Okay, y'all just heard that and just kept it moving, decided to keep doing show, and you weren't stopped in your tracks by the idea that Mike just said bananas are strawberries?
I
Did
gave
any
it a
of you-
pause, and Mike didn't.
Did any of you hear that, understand it, what was happening there? Because he seems to think he's right, and the rest of us don't know what it even
Dan,
means.
people have
Like
their
a
own set of
bone on
facts
this
now.
one.
If that's Mike's facts, then those are his facts.
Okay, so bananas are berries. Bananas are berries.
Well, Mike, the other day you said that any boat with a bathroom in it is a yacht, so I'm
Yeah.
having trouble believing you these days.
Well, you don't think that's true?
Which was
No.
untrue. It's a size thing.
Yeah.
No, it's you gotta have. A guy told me, bro.
Mike, you've been on my boat.
Do you have a bathroom?
Yeah. There's a room in the
Congrats
front.
on
and a
your
bucket.
yacht.
Wait, you have a bathroom in there?
Yeah.
You've been making me
Nobody's
swim the whole time.
Of course I have. Nobody's ever using that
I had
thing.
my wiener out there twisting in the wind. I didn't know you had a bathroom in that thing.
That was not true, by the way. That was happening when we got pulled over while I was peeing on the back of the boat, literally twisting in the wind.
Yeah, bananas are berries.
Not
But strawberries aren't berries. So I got it. But yeah, still shocking. You eat a banana, you're eating a berry.
No, you were just wrong.
I was wrong.
That's why we moved on, Dan.
But why would he say that?
Well, that was an Uber fact on the old, like, in Finelays, whenever Stugotz used to do sports centers.
Certainly there are things like this that are correct. Tomatoes are fruits, correct?
Yes, and bananas are berries.
No.
That's true. Bananas are berries. Strawberries aren't berries. Still a shocking fact.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Are bananas berries? At Le Batard Show. Because I don't believe that that's a thing that people think is a fact.
It's the internet, man. I don't know what to tell you. I don't think berries to me typically look like berries, not bananas. But, you know, even Austin Powers said a twig and two berries. He's not saying three berries.
That's good fact there. That's a good way to support your argument, I think. I wanted to ask Izzy here before we move on to other NBA things. The thing that we were talking about as it related to load management and the problem of right off the bat at the top of a season, as Obama's telling Halliburton, you guys need to try. You need to pretend to try. The season starts in Philadelphia, where they're trying to catch Boston, and Paul George and Embiid cannot play, and Embiid says he's not playing back-to-backs for the rest of his career. Zion Williamson does not play his first game. Adam Silver has already said, obviously, that this is a problem. What do you do as they head into this first season, or this season, first game of the season, the last couple of days? What do you do with the fact that already the conversation, one of the main conversations, is how hard are these people trying? How much do they actually care?
Well, I won't read too much into the Zion one. I feel like teams in the Western Conference in particular, because the conference is back to being really deep again, I don't think that they're taking regular season games off. I think if you look at the Eastern Conference specifically, there are 5 teams that you just kind of know are going to be terrible. And that leaves basically the rest of the Eastern Conference to at least be a play-in team. So you get yourself right at the end of the season. It doesn't matter what your seed is. You're going to trust that you're going to do okay. The problem I have with that is if you're the Philadelphia 76ers, what example do you have of this ever working? I already know, okay, the Sixers, no matter how they treat Joel Embiid, there's a 90% chance in the postseason he is not going to be able to play like his normal self. You can probably put a 50, 60% chance of that on Paul George, who's also missing the season early after a hyperextension. And you're thinking, yeah, the 76ers are never going to get into a rhythm to be able to compete with the likes of the Celtics if they are healthy and doing well. So they kind of take the regular season and just, hey, I'll relax. When I can get it right, I'll rev up. And I think that's only possible because the bottom of the Eastern Conference is so bad that you have multiple teams that you don't have to worry about.
I think that Jeremy thinks that the most interesting thing in the Eastern Conference is what's going to make it into the play-in game as a 10 seed.
That's absolutely the most interesting NBA story this season. There's a chance, Dan, that a team loses 50 games and makes the playoffs. There's a strong chance, because if you look at the Eastern Conference, and on behalf of the show, I will not include the Heat in this group. So you take 7 teams that you know are good in the East when you look at the Celtics, Knicks, Bucks, Cavs, Magic, Pacers, and Sixers. Then you have the Heat and the Hawks, who are going to probably be filling out what would be 8 and 9 of those 9 teams. Who is 10th? The Bulls are terrible. The Nets are terrible. The Raptors, the Hornets, the Wizards, the Pistons. One of those teams I just named is going to be a playoff team this season. That is the best possible storyline for the NBA, is the chase for 10 with the worst teams in the league.
Keep an eye on the Pistons this year. Keep a little eye on the Pistons this year.
Just a little eye.
Keep an eye. Cade Cunningham is special, Dan.
No,
I want you to keep an eye on Cade Cunningham and the Pistons
No,
this
he's
year.
not, says Izzy.
No, he's not. I had this. I put this in the group chat last season. I said, Cade Cunningham, he's all right. He is not special. He doesn't have, I don't think he has the athleticism to be special. I don't think he has the shot making to be special. I think he's a good lead guard, might make an all-star game, but I don't think he is a number one on a team that's going to do much of anything.
We'll see.
Okay, that is the way to retort there. I also remember that once upon a time, this might be unsophisticated basketball analysis, but I remember once upon a time people were arguing that Tony Campbell was a special player because somebody had to lead the 9-win Timberwolves in scoring. Like, I
thought you switched to football there with that name. I do not even remember who that is.
I remember a Timberwolf leading scorer, a terrible, do I have the name wrong? There was a Timberwolf.
Kevin Martin?
No, before that.
Wasn't Bucket, by the way.
Kevin Martin was always like in competition, be like a leading
But whoever
scorer.
was the lead scorer for a terrible Timberwolves team almost got to 20 points a game inefficiently and fooled people into believing that he could be something somewhere just because someone on these bad teams in the NBA has to get that team to 100 points the way they're playing basketball these days, shooting as many threes as they are. So people get fooled into thinking a number one on Houston or a number one, somebody who looks like a number one in Sacramento is an actual number one based
Tony
on what
Campbell.
it is.
Dan was right.
Wow.
What was so Tony Campbell put up a season with the Timberwolves.
This is shocking. More shocking than bananas being berries.
No, but correct me if I'm wrong on this. Don't we do this all the time with the bad teams? Tone.
Looter and a riot.
A lot of people are saying, I hear a lot of people trying to sell me on the fact that Cade Cunningham is someone special because someone's got to be good on a bad NBA team.
It's a battle of attrition, right? Like you look around and be like, oh, that guy sucks. That guy sucks. This guy is somewhat good. He can lead this team to at least something. But he read all those teams and they're bad, right? Like he has an ability to score. I mean, he's not a great shooter, but he can get to the hole. Like he's good enough.
But the Pistons were the worst team in the league last year, weren't they?
Yeah, he didn't. I think he missed some games there. But if you look at Cade Cunningham and think, okay, he's a special player who can lead a team, what do you look at when you see LaMelo Ball, who's more explosive, more dynamic, has been in it for a few more years, has that desire to finally crack into the postseason? I see him as that guy who's going to break into probably the play-in and then just maybe have to win one game to get into the playoffs.
Tony Campbell led the 1989-90 Minnesota Timberwolves with 1,903 points.
23 points per game.
Whoa. I wasn't a young boy at that time. How do I not know who this person is?
Roy is the first person in sports history to announce a basketball player's scoring totals instead of average.
I was doing the math. I was like, what is that?
The internet wasn't even invented yet.
Hey everyone, it's Mike Ryan. We here at the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz are excited to partner with Miller Lite to let you, our loyal audience, play along with one of our most popular segments we have, Weekend Observations, presented by Miller Lite. On October 21st, you will be able to go to DraftKings.com in order to make guesses on what will happen during the Weekend Observations segment on Tuesday, October 29th. How many beeps will there be? Will Stugotz swear? Who will be the first person to interrupt Stu? Oh, the winner? Yeah, the winner gets a trip for you and a guest to come to Miami and hang out with us at Flanagan's for a Thursday night football game on November 21st. Oh, and you get to see a taping of the show. Make sure you go to DraftKings and play free to win. And then tune into the show and check how you did. Look forward to seeing you. Or not, since only one of you will win. But the one that does, it's going to be fun. Make sure to enter. Must be 21 plus to enter. Eligibility restrictions apply. Void where prohibited. See DraftKings.com for details.
Ladies and gentlemen, the NBA is finally back, and a new season means new ways to get into the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Who's draining threes from beyond the arc? Who's crashing the boards and grabbing rebounds? Get behind your favorite players and the prop bets you can make on DraftKings, the home of NBA player props. First time, new DraftKings customers bet just $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Every point counts with DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code DAN, that's code DAN, D-A-N, for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5 only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/bball.
At Sierra, discover top workout gear at incredible prices, which might lead to another discovery. Your headphones haven't been connected this whole time. Awkward. Discover top brands at unexpectedly low prices. Sierra, let's get moving.
Dan Batard.
All these high-paid analysts, I don't want to mention names, TNT, ESPN, they are dead. They cannot. They're not going to make it. Even if they win if they lose in Miami.
I need to calm you down.
That's right. If they lose in Miami, they don't got a chance in Boston. Or they are going to have their ass, in Boston.
Stugotz.
They were wrong. Are they going to lose their job? No. Are they going to get a cut in pay? No. What are they going to do? Keep predicting what is the obvious. They're going to say, the Nuggets are going to win. Denver, the altitude. And you know what? The Heat are going to win it all.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
Why is David Samson already shaking his head as if he's filled with disgust? I could not hear because everybody was muted. It seemed like Adnan and David were passionately discussing something, enjoying each other's company, and then as soon as the cameras start rolling, I've got David Samson shaking his head sadly as if something bad has happened. Have we kept you waiting again? What is it that you're mad about today?
We've just been sitting here for 10 minutes watching you gesticulate vociferously on mute, and we wanted to start because we're both busy. The World Series starts tomorrow. We have a lot that we're doing, and we're here to talk about baseball, movies, whatever you want. But if you say 10:15, let's start at 10:15.
Adnan, you're nodding your head vigorously here. You're usually the reason that we're late here. Today is totally my fault. I don't enjoy being reprimanded by Samson, though, because I kept him waiting 10 minutes because I was just explaining something to Izzy over here that helps us do the show. I have to do this show.
First off, we're not late usually because of me. It was one time, and David Samson was irate about that, which is why I was put in the penalty box. It's been 5 weeks since we've done this segment. The 3-minute man was upset. We've took care of it. This is on you, Le Batard. I'm with Samson 100%. 10 minutes of my time. You know how much time? That's a lot of equity I have here when it comes to my time. You're explaining things with Izzy? Let's go. Come on.
You know what? I stand corrected. These two people are at the epicenter of a very important time in baseball. They are authorities on the subject of baseball. We were talking about tipping. And we were talking aggressively about tipping. So I want to ask you guys the opinion of this as I play it. Can you guys get me the legal
20%.
tender?
There's your answer. Tipping.
No. I've got a different question. I want to play a legal tender video for you two and ask where you two old people stand on this, because this old man walks into this place and he's paying for something in coins. These people are like, this is a cashless store, and he does not care. You tell me where you stand on this.
I'm going to buy some strawberries, and I'm offering exactly the right amount of money here. So you people take that money, and I will take my strawberries outside.
You can't take that.
I paid by legal tender.
No, don't break the door. Do not break the door.
No, don't. I paid by legal tender, and I am going out with my strawberries. I paid by legal tender in this dystopian place.
You should be able to spend wherever you want. This is an absolute joke.
You want one, mate?
Where do you stand on this, Samson? Cash and cashless stores.
If they don't take cash, you can't pay with cash. Now, I love cash and paying with cash. I still carry cash, but there are more and more places that don't take
David,
cash.
why is it called legal tender? You have to take it, do you not?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Where's that written? That's not a rule.
I want to say the Constitution, but I know I'm wrong.
Businesses get to define currency however businesses want.
Businesses get to decide how they get paid, and you can choose not to do business with them. You can't just walk in with pennies for strawberries. If they don't take cash, they don't take cash. Go buy your strawberries elsewhere.
You have to laud this guy, David. He's a British Larry David. He's taking things to his own hands. He just wants his strawberries. I can appreciate the fact he was defiant about this and clearly aggrieved, because you and I know what it's like. We've been to stadiums. It's just, all right, it's cashless only. You go, come on, I've got cash. Cash is king. I miss that bygone era.
British Larry David, I think you're onto something there.
David, how can you take up on behalf? Well, you always do. You're always taking up on behalf of the business. This seems wrong. Take my cash.
I'm just saying that you have the right to put whatever rules in place you want for whatever it is you're selling. You're not forcing someone to do business with you. I would never want to give up business. My view is I'll take anything anyone wants to give, from barter to cash to traveler's checks, because I'm trying to sell something. If you want to only take, it's like people who don't take Amex or Discovery. Right. Well, whatever. That's not smart, but that's the way you want to be. That's fine. Of course I'm taking the side of the company to decide, even if they're stupid.
But it makes me think of that scene in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. If Samson was in a situation like that, like John Candy and Steve Martin saying, I got $25 and a hell of a nice watch. And then John Candy says, I have $5 and a Casio watch.
David, you're saying that if I brought like a bag of like dried kidney beans to Marlins Park, you would let me go in lieu of paying for a ticket with cash? Like I could, you said you would allow bartering.
Bartering.
So I would personally, but no, working on behalf of the Marlins, kidney beans was not one of our accepted forms of payment. I would be happy to discuss with you the value of
been. The Marlins should have taken anything of value they could have gotten.
They were dry. You can keep them forever.
You guys should have had dried kidney beans and resold them on eBay.
According to federalreserve.gov, there is no federal statute mandating that a private business, a person, or an organization must accept currency or coins as payment for goods or services.
Wow,
private businesses are free to develop their own policies. I think the argument against it is that it's discriminatory because you're, weeding out people that can't get a line of credit.
Mm-hmm. David is looking at you the way that Tony looked at David when he said traveler's check.
What is a traveler's check? What do you mean by that? So, like,
with a QUE.
I'm traveling, and then I need a check to travel. What's the? Dave, can you break that down for me, please?
Have you ever seen Best in Show?
No.
Yes. How much do you think I can bench?
Let's
try to
just
pay
say
for
that
their
when
hotel
you-
and traveler's checks.
When you have money, that sometimes people, if you're staying in a hostel, they could take your cash. So what you did when you would travel around anywhere, hostel to hostel, you'd have something called a traveler's check, which you'd go to the bank and get, and it's literally an American Express traveler's check, and you have to cash them at the point of transaction. And so it's not worth it to anybody. It's worth nothing, literally nothing, except for you. And with your ID, you can use it. So that's how people would travel as poor people around the country back a long time ago.
So you would get the check, and then you give them the ID, and then they're like, oh, you can use it. Why not just use a regular check then?
Because checks take days to clear, and so nobody wants to take checks generally. Traveler's checks are immediate. They're automatic.
Adnan, why are you shaking your head? Because your time is valuable and people want to talk baseball?
Damn, we have an iconic World Series here. We got the Dodgers and the Yankees for the first time since 1981.
Tony needs to know what traveler's checks are about.
No, traveler's checks is what we're disseminating right now. This is what the country wants to hear.
It's a history lesson, Adnan. I needed it.
Tony, there was too much of a detour. Come on.
The problem with this generationally to me is you guys know what traveler's checks are, and when you come on here and mention planes, trains, and automobiles, Jessica and Tony shut down. They don't care about anything you have to say there. We have a generational divide between how it is you look, baseball's got a generational divide. You care about Dodgers Yankees because it reminds you of 40 years ago. I don't believe that Jessica and Tony care about Dodgers Yankees. I don't think it means anything to them historically.
Fernando Mania, come on, let's go. Reggie Jackson in 77, Game 6.
1977?
Yeah, that was the year I was born.
You've seen the vintage video, Tony. Come on.
Dan opened it up to the group to say anything. And on the platform where most people are listening, all he got was like, huh? Like nothing. Crickets.
You guys,
I'll tell you why.
I'll tell you what's happening here in terms of the chemistry, just generally between this segment when you guys come on. You guys care deeply about something the young people here don't care about at all. Like, at all.
That's not true. Jeremy's into the baseball. Jeremy is very excited. The pitch clock, Yankees, Dodgers. Let's go, Jeremy. Take the floor.
You
Speak to
explain.
this young
No,
generation.
Adnan, explain to people why they should care about this World Series more than any of the other World Series, because this is hearkening to a time there were 3 internets. It was actually, 3 networks, and it was actually pre-internet. These were the most important games in America when the Dodgers were playing the Yankees.
Yes. First fall classic since 1956 to feature each league's home run champion. Okay, we're talking Mickey and Duke Snyder. First time ever, 2 teams with 50 home run hitters. First time since 2012, you've got respective MVPs facing off in Judge and Ohtani. Of course, that was Miguel Cabrera, Buster Posey. Dan, this was the matchup that I think baseball fans dream of, because back in the day, it was 12 Worlds. This is the 12th time we're getting this. Yankees-Dodgers. The Yankees hold the edge 8-3, and there are so many great memories, whether it's Sandy Koufax striking out 15 in 1965 or Reggie Jackson's home run game. This is what baseball's all about. Samson, come on, back me up. Let's go. Bring up a Ron Stay reference.
Can't back you up because you're using examples of people no one's heard of. That's the worst sales job I've ever seen. Can I tell you how to sell this year's World Series?
Take 2. Five of the 6 big 3 here are MVPs, and the 6th might be the best hitter in baseball in Giancarlo Stanton. Ohtani MVP, Betts, Freeman, Judge, Stanton, and Soto. Who wants better than that? 6 great players in the sport. Go ahead, David.
It's a great World Series, David. It's a great World Series.
It is rare that in any sport you truly get the best players on the biggest stage at the end of the season who are healthy and playing. It is rare that you get the 2 biggest markets to play each other in any sport at the end of the season. Of course, this matters greatly, not just to the business on the field, but for the interest off the field, where the ordinary fan, even if Jessica's not interested in this series, I promise you, if we get to a game 6 and a game 7, there will be a level of interest that even Jessica would say, oh, I actually will watch to see Ohtani. And she's going to shake her head, of course, and on character, on point, say, no, I won't. But I promise you that she will. And now just won't spite me. But the reason is that when you get deeper into a series, it raises the interest. And if you put stars in it, it makes it even better. So we have an opportunity in baseball to do something we haven't done in a really long time. And that's to get interest across all demographics, across all generations. And the hope is this is the time to do it for baseball.
Is there action that night?
One of the things we run into here is that Jessica didn't want her college football interrupted by Aaron Judge's historic at-bats. There's been a divide in how it is that people get into their silos on what they like. And in that time, baseball, I don't know if demographically it has lost young people because their advanced media is great, but they do have an opportunity here. If these are not 10-4 games, they have an opportunity with some drama and game 6 and a game 7 to really get a lot of eyes that baseball hasn't had in a while, Adnan. Not like transcendent eyes. All sports fans are interested because you've got the giant, famous, sparkly things playing against each other.
Yeah, back in the day, Dan, as you said, when there was 3 channels, you had 44 million people watching the World Series in the late 70s, early 80s. It's a different generation. Last year, Rangers D-backs drew 8 million. But this year, you're going to get double digits. Like David said, these are 2 of the biggest markets, New York, LA. You're going to get hate watchers, okay? People hate the Yankees. They hate the Dodgers. Great. People hate David Samson. They watch this segment. So there's nothing wrong with a little bit of animus going a long way. These are popular teams. They're also loathed teams. And it's going to make for great, compelling action.
Jessica, why are you making faces?
What was that shot at David Samson in the middle of that?
Yeah, that was uncalled for.
My question is, what if
it wasn't uncalled for? It was accurate.
What if you hate both teams? Who am I supposed to root for if I don't like the Yankees or the Dodgers?
You want colossal injuries all over the place.
No. Jeez.
Golly,
you're like Freddie Freeman's Hobbit. Let's see how bad this thing can get.
Colossal injuries. That's not what we want to be doing here. Samson, you don't need to actually manufacture sales on this one. You're as excited for this as a baseball series since blank.
Since Marlins, Yankees in 03.
Only because you were involved, but just as a spectator that you're not involved in, this would be as perfect for baseball as anything could be. That
since the Cubs in 16 and the Red Sox in 04. Because anytime you have a curse that's been broken or a big team that has not won in a long time, that generates a bunch of interest. So I would put those up there. But this one, the 2024, with Ohtani being in the playoffs for the first time and him having the type of year he's had with Stanton hot and Judge and Soto on the Yankees, there is no scenario under which you've had a more star-studded matchup that anyone can remember in their lifetime, assuming they're under 50 years old.
If Ohtani was going full Shohei here and actually pitching in the series and hitting, then you got me. But I've seen two really good teams against each other before.
But what you do have the chance of having in this series, okay, the way that Ohtani struck out Trout in that World Baseball Classic is so many cool storylines. On Soto headed to free agency, they're going to have to pay him because he's the guy I fear most somehow, even though Aaron Judge is obviously a beast. And Ohtani has the chance to be better than like three legitimate baseball giants physically. Stanton, Judge, and I think Soto's like the best hitter, plate discipline you've seen since Ted Williams. He's got a chance to slay three giants in New York and be an international hero when he does it.
Well, Ohtani already is that, Dan, and baseball put a lot of resources behind Ohtani in this postseason, a lot of money spent overseas, and it's paid off already with the interest that Japan has had in this World Series. And the Game 2 starter is another Japanese player who got $300 million, Yamamoto. And so there's just all sorts of interest across all the different countries. So you're going to see a lot of press releases coming out from New York and Major League Baseball about all of the increased interest and ratings and numbers, and there will be great spin, great positivity.
Honestly, this series is, if you want to put it in another sports perspective, you take Steph's Warriors, you take LeBron's Heat or Cavs, you make them the Lakers and the Knicks, and that's what you have here for the World Series, because you have those markets and those level of teams and stars and transcendent stars that define a generation here in Ohtani and Judge alongside multiple other MVPs and superstars. That's the comparison you can make, is those two teams going head to head, but it's New York and LA.
Had to bring the Heat into it.
Okay, I think I'm in. I think I'm in. I can't guarantee it. I can't guarantee
Tony's
it.
in. My
I
God,
think I'm in.
let's go.
I think I'm in. I'll watch.
I think I'm in too. When does it start?
Tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow.
I got a thing.
Yes.
Wait,
Saturday we got MMA too.
Friday night is Rutgers at USC.
Oh no,
Rutgers, the Scarlet Knights.
It's actually after, Jessica. It's a doubleheader, I believe.
No,
I
I
believe
think
the
they're the
World
same
Series
time.
goes into the Rutgers USC game.
We're back. Jess is in.
What is the single greatest storyline? Give me one and only one. You can only give me one storyline. Which is it?
I'll give you Judge, Dan, because he has not performed well so far. He's hitting 161 in this postseason. He has a 704 OPS. That's league average. It's rare to say the Yankees are the underdogs, but I believe that they are. The Dodgers are favored to win this World Series, and Judge is yet to be judging. He's going to be a two-time MVP. He's a Rookie of the Year. He's a six-time All-Star, but he hasn't had a signature moment aside from that home run off Clase in Game 3. So if the Dodgers win, they probably should win. But if Aaron Judge doesn't step up, I think Yankee fans will be pretty upset.
David?
The biggest storyline for me is Shohei Ohtani and how recently we were dealing with a big gambling scandal that got swept under the rug so quickly back when this season started in Korea. And he has a chance to end that season winning a World Series, his first time in the playoffs, first time getting postseason at-bats, and he has been a beast with runners in scoring position, hitting at a historic level, like 17 out of 21 times he's getting a hit. And if he actually gets the MVP and has the commissioner's trophy, he is the number one face of baseball in the entire world, and then backs it up with performance. That does not happen every day.
Both of you agree with me that Soto's the best hitter on the Yankees?
Pure hitter?
I mean, yeah, I was about to say Stanton, listen, his numbers have been great. 794 slug in 9 games this postseason. Every time he's there, he's hitting it. He's got the 4th longest drought, by the way, of any position player to make the World Series. So his at-bats are must-see TV, Dan, because anytime he can go deep. But yes, pure hitter, Soto in terms of getting on base, plate discipline, and that power. Cliff Floyd said to me, nobody's better at hitting an elevated fastball than Soto. 95 up in the zone, and somehow Soto can take it downtown with a pitch like that. No one can do that.
I loved his at bat so much. Just the fact that he seemed you're in agreement that the at bat to end that Guardian series was an all timer when Aaron Boone's the one saying it, when he's saying an at bat for the ages, just because you kind of knew that Soto was stalking him. He was timing him the entire time. It was like watching a cat play with a bird it had injured.
So that's what Soto does every at bat. He's known for that, and in that particular at bat, Cliff Floyd's right. Uncle Cliffy, or that's not Uncle Cliffy, just Cliffy said that he did take the high fastball, and that's
Who's
just because
Uncle
he hit
Cliffy?
the home run.
Who's
Cliff Robinson.
Oh, okay.
Cliff Robinson.
Yes. Good work, David. Good talking
Thank
to
you.
I only had movie questions.
See you guys later. It was nice talking to you.
Thanks, guys.
Louisville, Boston College at 7:30. So.
Hey everyone, it's Mike Ryan. We here at the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz are excited to partner with Miller Lite to let you, our loyal audience, play along with one of our most popular segments we have, Weekend Observations, presented by Miller Lite. On October 21st, you will be able to go to DraftKings.com in order to make guesses on what will happen during the Weekend Observations segment on Tuesday, October 29th. How many beeps will there be? Will Stugotz swear? Who will be the first person to interrupt Stu? Oh, the winner? Yeah, the winner gets a trip for you and a guest to come to Miami and hang out with us at Flanagan's for a Thursday night football game on November 21st. Oh, and you get to see a taping of the show. Make sure you go to DraftKings and play free to win. And then tune into the show and check how you did. Look forward to seeing you. Or not, since only one of you will win. But the one that does, it's going to be fun. Make sure to enter. Must be 21 plus to enter. Eligibility restrictions apply. Void where prohibited. See DraftKings.com for details.